So this is basically your new portfolio of work since the accident?
Correct.
Okay. And is it in order of most recent, or is it pretty much just ordered?
It's pretty thrown together at the last minute for today.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I did pop in on this last minute. Yeah, that's nice. Have you seen this heel yet?
No, I have not. I haven't got to see it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I like the whole approach to using the color to establish the form. It's probably going to be a little overly soft,
okay,
healed, and you know, as time passes, maybe even more so. And of course, the conventional wisdom would be use black. Ironically, Michelle is even using a little black these days. Like if she were going to do this tattoo, maybe not on the inner forearm, you know, she might just use, let's say, deep purple instead, but
okay,
you know, there'd be a little bit in these.
In the deepest areas?
Yeah, exactly.
It was a cover-up also, and there is a black thick outline star you can see, and part of the tip of the star is actually in the pink right there where it comes up.
One thing that you'll definitely hear me recommending over and over again is, you know, especially in cover-up areas, to get back in there with the liner in the course of doing your shading and coloring. It's not so much how dark you make it, but often it's how detailed you make it that is going to be what buries the old tattoo.
I feel like I fail in my planning of knowing where my light source is and where the warmth is the most, and it's something I want to work on more, is trying to understand where the warmth and the light source is.
I think that would be one thing, you know, if I was going to be the most critical of this, I think the rose, especially once it's healed and settled, it's going to be a little flat because your use of color throughout it is a little too uniform. You can see, you know, the three colors that we're using there or whatever, you know. Now, I don't know if this was on purpose or if it was by her request or he just didn't think to, but just imagine what a dingy cool background would do to this. And when I say dingy cool, I'm talking about like, you know, Arctic blue with a little smoke maybe dipped into gray or something like that.
Like you said, colors that all work together still.
Right. So that, you know, it won't be mud because it'll be intentionally dingy. You know, it'll be a nice spectrum of dingy. You know what I mean? Okay. Mud is when you get that icky brown because you've mixed too many things the wrong way, you know. So yeah, that would go a long way towards not only warming up the flower without having to go any warmer with the flower, but it would push it forward because cool just naturally drops back. Warm naturally pops forward in relation to cool.
You talked about just the outline around the outside of it and just having one style. I feel that's something that I am trying to get away from, that I'm wanting to do new, because that's something I learned just as traditional tattooing. I was taught about building lines on the outside, and it's something about why I'm even asking for the critique is because it's something I always just fell back on, and I can't keep falling back on what I used to do.
Well, you know, I mean, it sounds like you do have some understanding of it. I mean, at the very least, you get it that you have this kind of fallback habit or whatever. So, I mean, it sounds like a lot of this is just going to be about breaking habits. And one of the things about being an experienced 16-year tattooer is you're going to have some bad habits along with good ones. But one thing that you're doing here is you're relying too much on that line to create the flower. It's pretty much as light inside as it is outside. You know, the shading within it is very soft. What I usually do and recommend doing is shading the background first. So then you can see where not to shade the foreground.
Okay.
You know, because you need to leave it open enough. But yeah, they're two totally different approaches to flowers, and it's good that you're, you know, still doing that. You know, I mean, at any stage of your career, it's nice to be trying different things. So, you know, at least you didn't fall back on the same habit on both.
You talked about bringing even cool colors into the background, and that's what I'm always looking for, is warmth and color, and subdued glowing colors, even to show that there's some energy there behind it.
Well, you can make your warms actually look a lot warmer by having cools around them. You know, it might sound counterintuitive, but it does work that way because you're increasing your range. I mean, a lot of this looks nice. Okay, this looks a little cartoony. You know, that's a thing you could have really resolved by looking at reference a little bit better. I think the flames themselves are a bit dense. Okay. It'd been nice to see some larger scale. You know, these are all really small, so big movements. Always ask yourself how you can get bigger movements. I mean, like you did it with these waves. So, I mean, I guess one of the things I would ask is, why would you do such nice open waves on this piece and such dense, smeary flames on this piece?
I would say what part of it was drawing on paper and thinking what looks cool at night, just kind of being by myself. And we spent too many hours, over 4 hours, sitting here with Sharpies, drawing all these on and shading them just so that they looked right in the moment and how it kind of fit his body.
You know, I think what you're saying with this, like you're, you know, working on this as an art piece, a drawing, and you really liked how it was looking and wanted to translate it to a tattoo. I think the question you should have asked yourself is, what do I need to do in order to translate this drawing into a tattoo? Because not every drawing is a tattoo drawing. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, if you really wanted this to translate, you need to go more realistic with it. You need to really work this out, you know.
Instead of the motorcycle gas tank airbrush stuff.
Well, yeah.
That's kind of what the customer was into.
But it's still a cool tattoo, don't get me wrong. I mean, one thing that I often see, you know, and I definitely am seeing in your case, is you got all the technical skills. You know, you've got the lining, the shading, the smooth healing. You know, you've got everything you need, all the tools that you need to apply great tattoos. So it's all going to be in the drawing. It's all going to be in the art part of it. And, you know, I think a lot of people don't quite grasp how much of being a good tattooist is about being a good artist in the first place, and how much you can, you know, advance beyond just your technique by, you know, advancing your art.